Okay, so we're going to go over how to use a spline IK today, and they're a little bit mysterious, although they're not really that hard to use. But they're really good for long joint to chains of joints. So anyway, I guess we'll just get started on it. So I'm going to turn off my mesh for now. And I'm going to go to skeleton, IK spline handle, option box. We want to root the curve. On there, we want to auto create the curve, and we want to auto simplify the curve. And the number of spans you kind of want to play with, but it seems like 3 or 4 is almost always what you want. And then we're going to be doing let's see, I guess we'll do the back first, the spine. And so we'll use our twist type. We'll set that to let's see, ease out, I think. We can always change that later. So what you're going to have to do to create one is you have to select a root joint. Remember, we got multiple joints here at the root of our bird, so we need to do that from the hypergraph. And that's the base joint for me. So select that. And I got multiple joints here where the neck begins and the shoulders meet up, so I need to make sure I select the appropriate joint. It's going to be the spine 4, so I'll shift select that, and it's going to create this little line here and this IK handle. Now, this is really not useful at all by itself. I can't translate it or rotate it or scale it or anything. But what it created, let me show. Let's see if I can get it to show this. Maybe it hit it. Or did I click the wrong spine? Maybe I used the wrong IK handle. There should be a curve that goes right down the center of this. So, IK handle, spline solver. Oh, that's right. Okay, so I just got to find the curve that it created. Okay, so there's the curve, and I'm a little confused as to why it's not showing it, but it's okay. So I'm going to press F8 on my keyboard. This is really weird. Sorry, guys. This curve that it created should be showing. I'm trying to think as to why it wouldn't be showing. Shape nodes. Has a curved shape. Visibility's on. Okay, I'm gonna have to pause the video, I guess, and so I can get this curve to show. It's absolutely crucial because we have to use that to create the curve. This is a first time I've had this problem. Okay, so I can't find it. It says it exists, but it doesn't really exist. I can select the shape node and press Control-A to open the attribute editor and go to the component section. And the problem is it didn't really create anything. And it says it did, but there's no CVs. So we're going to create our own curve and use that instead. So I'm going to delete these two things that we just created. And this is the way I do it normally anyhow. I was just trying to show you guys a slightly easier method. It's actually not easier since it's not working. And we're going to create a CV curve. So we go to Create, CV Curve Tool, Option Box, and we want to use this cubic curve. And I'm going to snap it to these joints. I'm holding down V, and I'm snapping the creation of this curve to these joints. Okay. Now, press Enter to finish that up. I'll press F8 to go to component mode, and I'll actually want to shift these down because I need to make sure that this curve goes directly through the center of the joints. And that's why it's nice to be able to use the auto create curve. It needs to go because it can do it more precisely than I can. So you have to go back and forth a little bit. Now the reason you want to do this is because these joints are going to position themselves on this curve. And then as we deform the curve, the spine is going to follow it. Okay, so I've got that pretty close. I'm going to switch out of component mode, and then I'm going to go back to my SplineIK tool. So skeleton, spline, IK spline handle tool. And this time I'm not going to auto create the curve, and I'm going to root it on the curve. Let me try it without that. Let's just see what happens. And you see down here, it tells us to pick the start joint. Okay, so we'll do that. So my start joint is my base joint. Okay. Now, now I need to pick the end joint, which is going to be the spine 4. So I'll shift select that. And now I need to select the curve that I created so I can tell which curve to use. So I'll shift select that. Okay. Now I have created my IK spline. Now I need to rename things. So I'll rename this curve to spine curve. And this is going to be the spine IK handle. Now these are deceiving in that these IK handles are actually never manipulated directly. Okay. Now with this, how the spline works is if you go to component mode and move around these components, the spine is going to do the best it can to follow on that curve. And so we need to come up with a mechanism to control this curve. So this is relatively short, so we're going to do this with just 2 controls. So a lot like we did with the flour sack early on, we're going to create a couple clusters. So I'm going to go to create deform. I'm going to select the last 4 CVs on that curve and go to cluster. Okay, I'm going to select my curve again. I'm going to select the first 4, and I'm going to create another cluster. Okay, and I need to rename these. So this will be base spine or spine base underscore cluster handle, and let me switch to object mode so I can select this.